right. Good evening, everybody. Let's do a brief audio and visual check. How's everybody doing tonight? Let's make sure everybody can hear and see me. It looks good and sounds good from my end, on my end. There's always a delay. Always a delay on the stream. So I just wait a minute while I get a few things set up on my end. All good, all good. I'm a bit over halfway to making 1.5 on my platinum short. Great trade. I don't think I've ever traded platinum, to be honest. Everything's good, chilling. Great. It's that time. Is everyone buying gold, right? Is that the time where we just buy gold at the start of slow markets? That's been the trend, to be honest. Now, let's get going. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Slow Markets. I'm Coach Dakota, Coach TBA. As always, in the YouTube chat, the Nightbot's doing the heavy lifting for me. There is our Top Step risk disclosure in the YouTube chat. Everyone should know by now. If not, understand it, read it. This is not a signals class. It's for educational purposes only. Talk about it all the time, all the time. Your own risk, right? Your own risk all the time. Now, that being said, let's take a look at these markets. The Nasdaq daily chart has been beating me up. It's been beating me up for the past 2 weeks. This Nasdaq sure has been. Not really much to talk about on the daily, to be honest. I mean, what is there? What is there on the daily? We do have CPI tomorrow, so we have big news coming out tomorrow that could bring some very volatile markets, right? US CPI year over year, month over month. So there is some big data coming out. On top of that, we also have the Fed Pal. Fed Pal is testifying and a lot of Fed speakers throughout the day. So, I mean, prepare. The market could get triggered off of anyone's comments. It's pretty crazy. Tonight, before I came on Slow Markets, I was talking with Coach Jay, and we were seeing some crazy orders come through the order books. You can see here on the DOM depth of market that we're hovering around 21,800s, just basically 21,800. And I was watching it, and I messaged Coach Jay, and I said, wow, we had a 200 contract come in at the ask, a 100 contract come on at like just below the bid, and back and forth. And I've been seeing some really big orders coming in tonight. And first thing he said was, maybe there's somebody somewhere positioning or closing their position, preparing for CPI tomorrow, preparing for, PAL. Who knows, right? We never know what someone's intentions are. We could just see the order come through. We could see it get filled. If it gets filled, right, and position size, that's only an assumption, right? We can only assume someone comes in during slow markets at this time of night and puts on 200 contracts at the ask. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. I mean, if it was me, and if I was going to, take on 200 contracts to either open or close, I personally would be either hedging or closing a position going in towards tomorrow's CPI. That is my only personal opinion. But you never know, right? Never know. Daily, not really much to talk about. Let's zoom into an hourly chart. There's a little more to talk about on the hourly, over the past 3 weeks, right? The past couple weeks, what we've been seeing. I talked about it a little bit yesterday, where we're kind of making this interesting, wedge, this wedge formation, wedge, triangle, whatever you want to call this. This is basically it, right? We're making higher lows, we're making equal highs, and then we have a big news event tomorrow. So will the news tomorrow, will the data tomorrow push us in either of these directions, right? Is that going to push us and break us through these 22,000s in the Nasdaq? Or are we going to break down and maybe run down and come back down to 21,000? Well, it's anybody's guess, to be honest. It's anybody's guess. We have been in a range technically for a nice period of time between 21,000, 22,000. We are near the upper end of this range. So, can we say the odds are to the downside? I don't know. If you're looking to short it, you guys could probably see I've been trying to short this market and have been getting my getting my lunch ate, for lack of better words. And that being said, as we continue to zoom in, right, let's zoom in and we take a look. This is an hourly chart, mind you. We look at today's price action. So I ended up getting short today during the New York session. I ended up getting in short here around, like, I don't know, these 770s, 780s. And I was looking for us to maybe have a consolidation day, looking for us to have an inside day. Well, we did. Unfortunately, it was after the market ran my stops, after I got stopped out. And yeah, look at this. Beautiful. Shout out for Dobie. Beautiful Dorito looking pattern. And typically, Dorito can be difficult to trade if you're a breakout trader. If not, you just kind of buy the bottom end, sell the top end, look for, either a breakout in one direction or the other. Another thing is, we're talking about Doritos. There's markets are fractal. There's patterns inside of patterns that we always talk about. We always say, and we could see the market's fractal. We could say that there's even a bigger one forming, right? Maybe a bigger one. And a lot of this can be, remember, a lot of this, my opinion, everybody, is that there's a lot of consolidation before tomorrow. A lot of consolidation for tomorrow. We take a look at Sunday. This is Wednesday's price action. So the week is still early. The week is still very early. We had that gap down, almost immediately filled, rallied back up, and now we're consolidating for tomorrow's events. Any trades going into tonight, into tomorrow? If I am going to trade this, I would hate to say it, to say that I would trade it to the short side, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about a trade on here with this type of price action. Like I said, if anything, I know it's hard for me to say because I can make an argument right now for both directions. Right, I could easily make an argument for both directions. To be honest, it's very hard. I think we could see some very ugly, choppy price action. I could be wrong. Maybe we see this market just trend and break before the CPI. But one thing to note is if we take a look at this price action from yesterday, we have had a hard time holding these 800s. Today during the New York session, we had a hard time, holding these 880s. We could see that this was Monday's session high. We made technically a lower high, right? So this is part of that Dorito pattern where we made a lower high, but then we made a higher low, right? Lower high, higher low. Maybe you could look at this and say this is an equal high. If we zoom out to an hourly chart, maybe you could see something else. And essentially, you get caught in this vicious trap of paralysis by overanalysis here on the Nasdaq. Now, that being said, I don't have too much to say on the Nasdaq. Let's jump over to gold because gold has been the talk of the town lately. So remember, guess what? I ran a poll last night. If you guys remember, you tuned in, and what was that poll? It was, is this going to be the high? And I was saying yes. I was looking for shorts as soon as we seen that. Sure enough, that is currently the high, right? That's the currently high. It was the daily high. It's still the high of the week, right? It's the all-time high now. That was a great poll. Actually, looking at that now, it's one of those woulda, coulda, shoulda. Like, man, remember that 3-bar reversal up here? Remember that 3-bar reversal? It's easier to call a trade than it is to trade it sometimes, and there's a great example. Going into tonight, what are we seeing already into the first 10 minutes? Sure enough, we are seeing gold bounce. Gold bounced from 29.10, 29.11, and it's that one thing, right? Gold just, what do we as soon as I started class, right at the start of class, we're up $9 in gold. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can if we get continuation. Let me look at the hourly chart and let's take a look. Buy the dip. Is that what we're looking at right now on the hourly chart? Ooh, that is a very good looking option, right? If someone wants to buy gold, is this the dip to buy? I mean, it was a buy this morning, the start of the New York session, and here we are right now at 29.20. Is this a dip to buy? Are we looking at possibly a double bottom? Is this a double bottom? And are we going to see another leg higher? Possibly. I mean, don't fix what's not broken. This is a very strong trending market. Very strong. There's always that fear of what if it sells off, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to keep an eye out on gold. Gold has been very volatile, and then we're continuing to go up, Do I just throw on one? Just for the sake of being long gold? Close your eyes and buy it. Close your eyes and buy it type of trade. Let's just see. I'm just going to throw one on, and let's see if we can get a rally through slow markets. We'll see if we get a rally through slow markets. Keep an eye on this one. For me, everybody, let's take a look at the Nikkei. Someone's saying Japan news, all over the tape. Well, taking a look at the Nikkei, quite the sell-off. Let's say Japanese market. I mean, not much is really happening from this higher time frame where we continue to see. I'm going to zoom out here so I have more space to work with on this chart. Let me look at the daily for just a moment. So nothing has really changed too much, right? I mean, we're making these higher lows. We're at the bottom end of this range, basically. The question now is, are we going to rally? Maybe there's more consolidation to be had down here towards 38,800s and maybe more consolidation. And then if we do see us starting to break out, look for the market to maybe return to 40,000. That's on a higher perspective, higher time frame. And then as we start to zoom into the hourly chart, I mean, the Nasdaq's Nikkei is a lot more bearish than the Nasdaq. Obviously, we could take a look at this, and I mean, is there a reason to say, why? I mean, we filled the gap, right? We filled the gap. We're having a hard time breaking through and holding above, 39,000, 39,100. So can we see the Nikkei come back and test some of these lows? Sure. This is quite a wide range, right? Are we going to test these 38,600s, maybe even lower? And over the past hour, it looks like we've sold off pretty hard. Japan is closed today. I mean, it's still volatile just because that's closed. I mean, we're still seeing some decent moves here in the Nikkei. That's 0.75%. Seeing some volatility to the downside. And then last but not least, let's take a look at crude oil, and then we could see if we could find any trades. Crude oil is on the daily. We ended up getting that bounce, right? Like we said, we can make an argument for any direction. We can make an argument for bulls. We can make an argument for bears. And yeah, we bounced right out of that breakout. I mean, is this a decent bounce? This is a bigger bounce than I expected. A nice rally off this level that we broke out to start the year. We had that nice rally. And if we zoom in, we could kind of see that breakout and that rally, kind of what we were talking about, was it last night? That I was looking to see if there's a decent short opportunity here. That did not play out. That short did not play out. The exact opposite, right? We broke through that where it's, hey, are we gonna see a continuation down, or are we gonna break out? And now we're in a situation. We are now in a situation of this, right? See what happened here at the end of January, beginning of February? Are we going to see the same thing? Are we going to look back and say, oh, you know what? Last time we had this little breakout, this was a much better short opportunity. Is that what we're looking at? Maybe. I don't want to be long right here. I definitely do not want to be long. But if I was going to be buying crude oil, I would much rather wait for a retest and then look for a continuation, right? Wait for a retest, then look for a continuation to buy. I don't want to be a buyer up here because, shorting this market up in this zone is probably a better option the way I see it, just because we are very bearish over the past while. Everyone's talking about the fundamentals changing, So I don't know. I think it's going to be hands off for me on crude oil. I talked about it a little bit. And let's get to some questions. I'm going to hover going back and forth through some of these markets, watching these other markets. Nasdaq starting to, do I dare say, catch a bid? I mean, this is looking like we might break out. This is starting to look really strong, where we might have failed to the downside, right? We tried to break down, and now we are going and testing the top end of this. Now remember, to be honest, there's a lot of discretion when it comes to drawing technical analysis. Do you want to include the wicks? Do you not want to include the wicks? What are we looking at? But we are rallying off that 21,800. And do we make a run for, I don't know, maybe we make a run from today's to today's highs. Today, during the New York session, the highs, weekly high, Monday's high, where it was right here. This is like the weekly high, right? This was today's high. I'm sure if you know this indicator, it's the Topstep daily levels, where a lot of this is already marked for us, which is very nice, where we have all these levels. Let's see. There was a way to, let's see, symbol titles. We could go through, and I think there's a way. If I remember, symbol name. Nope, that's not it. There we go. So top step levels, there's settlement 21,846 that we can make a run for. Yesterday's volume point of control, yesterday's value area high, top step yesterday's high. So I mean, that kind of puts it into perspective. This is nice. They've matched up pretty well with my technicals. When Topstep first released this, it matched up pretty well with my levels. I mean, using them as confluence can be a decent thing. So here we are. We're breaking through this level, right? Yesterday's value area high. And the next question is going to be, are we going to make a run for the settlement, yesterday's volume point of control? I'm not that great of a volume trader, but I don't know. It's gonna be. I'm gonna keep an eye on the Nasdaq as well. But gold is running. Gold. Everyone's looking at gold. Close your eyes and buy it. Easy, right? That's all you need to do is buy gold. That's been the trend. Buying gold. This is on the 1 minute, so it's zoomed in. I don't really trade off the 1 minute, but you could see it zoomed in a lot better. Now, if we do end up breaking out, where do we go? Can we make a run up here towards these 30s? Can we make a run to those 30s? Maybe. I also want to sit here and watch the Nasdaq breakout. Want to watch the Nasdaq. We are still getting some volatility into this. Nasdaq, gold. So I'm going to continue to watch this. I am in a position here, so I could watch gold, watching the P&L, and I could also watch the Nasdaq. I want to see if we could break through, and I'm really interested in this move here in the Nasdaq, this pattern, this formation. Really interested. Few things is a split screen it. Well, I want to do some analysis here first, and then I could split screen it. Jay White. So first thing that comes to my mind, right? Fake outs. How can this market fake us out? Do we expect a breakout to tonight? Well, we could easily have some type of a fake out where we do something like this, right? We could easily do something like that, where we have a false breakout, make a run, and then reverse and then sell off, right? And this could happen in any direction. This could happen to the long side. It could also happen, to the short side, where we have a fake breakdown, run of liquidity. My theme, I need to make a song out of it. Stop loss is a better entry. That I need a shirt. I still need to get that shirt made. Theme song, whatever. That's my theme song of 2025 so far. Stop loss is a better entry. And have something like this, that is very possible. But if we're looking for a breakout, then maybe it would be, instead of fake out, right? It could also be something where we can see this, right? Where we can see something like that, where we break through, we come back, we test it, and then we get the continuation. This is what my preferred situation would be. I would love to see this, a breakout, a retest, and then the continuation. That is the ideal scenario for a trend trader, for a breakout trader. We do have CPI tomorrow, so anything can happen. But typically, based off of my experience, when we have a big news event coming up within a day, you don't see too many crazy breakout and trends. Even though I've seen it before, anything can happen. But I would say if we're talking odds, statistics, if we were to say this is a 50-50 chance, right? Let's just say it's a 50% chance that we break out and we continue up. Since we have a news event, I would personally say that it would be less likely, right? Maybe, even though we can easily just break out and go up. We know how CPI can move the markets. 100 points is nothing. 100 points is, we can move 100 points in a second during a CPI. So honestly, when it comes to technicals, as soon as CPI hits or a big news event like that, like a data hits, all technicals can, to me, the way that I view it, can just be out the window, right? Like any current or micro or like intraday levels, I just kind of throw that out the window once CPI hits, once the news event hits, and just say, all right, okay, market, where are we going to go? Tell me where we want to go. Watch the market, see how it reacts, and then, after things start to settle down is when I typically like to trade it, is after things start to settle down. Because maybe tomorrow when CPI hits, all of the technical analysis I'm doing, drawing the support, drawing the resistance, say, hey, this level's support, this level's resistance. And then I wake up in the morning and we see this huge green candlestick that just makes it look so small, and then we're up 500 points, right? So maybe we see that, or maybe it's a big giant red candlestick, and I say, wow, all that technical analysis, just throw that out the window, and here we are. Let's start fresh. Then what you do, you zoom out and you say, all right, where were we at, right? And then we start looking at higher time frames and say, wow, okay, we're all the way back down here, closer to 21,000. Where's the technicals? And so the technicals that you typically do on these smaller time frames kind of just go out the window most of the time, right? Most of the time. Sometimes I've seen CPI, I've seen data come out and us just like not really go anywhere, and we just kind of flatline, and it's like nothing really happened. It's rare, but seen it happen. Mizell, I see Nasdaq 21,904. 21,904. Where is 904 at? And why is that? I mean, we have Monday's high, right? Is that what you're looking for? A run at Monday's high? 904. Very precise. Interesting. If we break through 900s, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing 950s, 960s. 950s, 960s. All right, let's get to some questions. It's like I said, we still have a full session in front of us. It's a new trading day. It's Wednesday. Remember, we have big news. So either you're trading tonight before the news, don't want to hold a position into it, or you just wait and trade after. Let me get to a few of these questions here. Give me just a second. Get a drink of water. Okay. Do you always have a 5-minute chart? I tend to go to HTF. I'm not sure that's right. David B. I tend to always look at a 5-minute chart, right? Whether I'm zooming in to execute a trade, or if I'm scalping and I'm using the 5-minute as understanding support and resistance. I love the 5-minute time frame. You also have to use multiple time frames. I'm always, maybe not always have to use it, but it's my recommendation that you should use multiple time frames. You don't have to trade off of multiple. You could trade off of one, but it's really good to look at multiple time frames. There's a lot of times where I've gotten into a bad situation or a bad trade or a bad position, and I think to myself, you know, if I would have just took a minute and looked at an hourly chart, I could have prevented this, or I could have not been in that type of a situation, or something. If I was too hyper focused on one time frame, right? Whether it's 100 tick or 5-minute, and I'm not looking at the big picture. So it's always good as a trader that have at least two. I would say at least two, whether it's a 5-minute hourly, 15-minute, 1 minute, 30-minute. It's really up to you. There's no bad time frame. It's whatever time frame works for you is the correct time frame, is the correct one. This is a decision zone. This is a decision zone here in the Nasdaq. So this is one where if you want to buy this market for a play on a break to the long side, I'm perfectly fine with that. Or if you want to short this market for, a range bound trade, shout out to Dobie, I think that also would work too. This is a decision zone, right? Where we're at a key level. Maybe it's a key based off of this time frame I'm looking at. It might not be a key level on a different time frame, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this one. Is the bracket still the issues for multiple contracts on Topstep X? I'm not sure, Dax. I have not used them for a while now, so I could not tell you. We do have this feature right here where you could see the voting, and you could see it says it right there, help shape the platform. If you want a feature request, idea, feedback, and you can go through and check it out. I mean, look, that's number one, right? So you can see, what the traders are wanting is improvements to bracket orders, if that's what you're referring to. And you could, click on it. There's 192 messages. You go through and you could see all the conversations that's being had on this feature. Beautiful, right? Beautiful community, beautiful option that we have. I mean, guys, everybody in the chat, Topstep X is less than a year old, and this is just continuing to over deliver on excel my expectations. Remember, it's still a year old. I always have to keep that in mind, practicing it. I've been trading Topstep X for what? Since August, since the end of July. So always understand your tools and instruments if you're not used to it. MP has said this on TopstepTV all the time, that if you're not used to a platform, you do not have to trade it. I come from Ninja Trader background when it comes to some of my day trading, and I'm going to stick with Ninja Trader because that's what I know. And then I slowly got used to Topstep X, and now I'm really enjoying Topstep X with a lot of these amazing risk management features, right? A lot of these risk management features, a trade clock, personal sky. This is a beautiful thing. And it's not even a year old, where I think I remember where at one point in time, I don't think any of this stuff was there. Maybe I might be wrong, but it's amazing. It really is. I might want to try and play for a breakout. I'm going to try and play for a breakout here. Let's see. I want to. I always have to do this. I always switch back and forth depending on what markets I'm trading. Let's see if we could play for a breakout. One contract, and I risk 30 points. This is probably not the right one. Shorts might be a better play. I don't know. We'll see. This is just a remember, I can't get funded. This is a coach's account where I use it for instruction, right? Like a whiteboard, a teacher in the whiteboard. So I don't mind playing for a breakout trade here. I might even just add a buy stop. Maybe a buy stop would be a little more probable. A buy stop meaning, I only want to get into this market. I only want to get in if we do break through and we break out. So we'll see which one. I want to see which one, performs a little bit better. Sometimes just getting in early, you have a better risk reward. Or, waiting for the confirmation, waiting for the breakout. That's the debate that I always go through. Is getting in early for a better risk reward, or is it waiting for the confirmation, getting a worse position? I think I'm just going to wait for that breakout. And I could do that test anyway. I'm going to wait for the breakout. So buy stop. I'm going to just use a buy stop. If we could have a buy stop on the breakout, that's probably... If it breaks out first, it'll likely be the fake move and then reverse. We'll see. Unless this one was the fake move, right? It doesn't. This doesn't look like the fake move. That, or if we get some random headline about tariffs where this market drops 100 points, that could be interesting. Where's my stop loss on the gold trade? I don't know. Let's see. Has gold settled down a little bit? We got a little bit of a pullback. Let's zoom in. And see the price action. We got a little bit of a pullback here on gold. Is this a buyable dip? Right? We're maybe a little level of support, maybe some support, some resistance. Used to be resistance. Now we're seeing it come into support a little bit. And what I would want to see is if we have continuation, right? Continuation through that. Another way I would probably want to add to this is if I'm going to add to this, it would be a buy stop again. Shout out to stop orders. Buy stop for, add to the position if we do break through these 924s, and then I could adjust my stop loss. Right now my stop loss looks like it's at right around 910 based off this. And then if we do end up breaking through these 24s, I would move my stop loss right up to this, right to this level, because I like to follow my stops with pivots. If this is a pivot and we do end up breaking out, then this would be the next one. Sure, there's an argument to be made that having my stop loss right here might be more valid. But remember, the setup was on a higher time frame, right? This is what we're talking about, multiple time frames. The setup was on a higher time frame. Remember, I looked at the hourly chart and then we zoomed in. So the setup is on a higher time frame, and then maybe you can manage your trade on a lower time frame and zoom in. David, stop orders are addictive on news candles. It just works so well. It does. Stop orders can work really well during high market volatility and for breakout trades. Now, David, you probably know this, right? Where it gets scary is slippage, right? Because I've had negative experience where I use a stop order, even a stop loss during a news event or during a high random, like say a tweet, right? A tweet where market moves 80 points against you. Slippage is always scary. Now, in a simulated environment like this, or like at a prop firm, you're not going to experience slippage as much when you compare it side to side with a live account. So it's perfectly fine. I'm not against using stop orders for breakout trades, but it's something that should be understood going forward as a trader. Like if you want to make that part of your strategy, that's good understanding, right? It's something to be in good understanding for. Nasdaq's just, are we going to go back down to the bottom of this? Buy low, sell high? Is this a selling opportunity? We'll see. What is margin call? Alex. Oh, margin call. We don't want to get down that conversation. Not going down that one. I have been lucky. I have never received a margin call where there's some sketchy situations in my options trading journey, and ever since I've been trading options for a long time, I've had a few close calls. I'm gonna be honest. I've had some close calls. I've had my fair share of arguments with the poor person across the phone from me with, say, Interactive Brokers or Tasty Trade. Margin Call's a great movie. Yeah. Let's just say if okay, I can't leave everybody hanging with that one. If you know options, I'm going to go through this really quick. If you know options, you understand vertical spreads. Well, Interactive Brokers, they execute and they close their vertical spreads one leg at a time sometimes. And when they're closing one leg at a time, the last 2 minutes of the close, there's slippage. Slippage in options is a whole new ball game, especially on vertical spreads when they close it at one leg at a time. And it just, I was heated. I was heated for a moment. And good times. I've spent plenty of hours on the phone with brokers. $300K for one mini. Well, I don't trade futures with Interactive. Coach Paul, that's really, yeah. Coach Paul, you know exactly what I'm referring to. When the broker legs you out 2 minutes before the close, when I had pending limit orders, it was, dare I say, a learning experience with that broker. Yeah, Armando, if you trade, it's slippage. We're talking slippage. General markets, it comes in the futures, it comes in the options, it comes in stocks. Any financial instrument that you trade using different orders, right? Not limit orders, option or market orders, right? Market orders, there's going to be slippage. Stop orders, market orders, slippage is part of life. It's part of life. You kind of just have to accept it. That makes me wonder, Coach Paul, is what your experience has been. I'm sure you've had plenty of experience with something similar on both ends. I'm sure Coach Vince has. That's a great thing about the Top Step coaches here is the amount of experience, real life experience too, when it comes to these markets. Not just book smart. Anybody could pick up a book and read it. A lot of this stuff you have to experience it firsthand sometimes, so that way you do understand what's like. No one's going to teach you about, hey, guess what? You just experienced crude oil going negative. That's a no handbook. There's no teaching about a commodity going into the negative futures market. So a lot of experience that I've been very lucky to kind of lean off of and learn. And just as much as everybody here on Top Step in the YouTube chat is, I join the coaches. I join at the buzzer. I join whenever these coaches are having meetings and I have free time. I join, I listen in, and I enjoy it 100%. I enjoy it. I'm not gonna pass up free information, free education. Why? Who in the world is gonna pass up free education, regardless at what level of where you are at in your trading journey? Yes, slippage is part of the game, but legging out of a spread is unprofessional. I could only tell you, Coach Paul, how heated that conversation was. So heated. I saved the phone recording. I recorded the phone call. I saved the emails. It got pretty heated. Now, it was $6,000 worth of slippage. And it was my fault for not closing it out using a limit order prior to it being 2 minutes before the New York session close in an options trade that expires that day. But still, you could always blame. You could always boil it down to it's your fault for not closing it out or being aware of this or all that. But you can imagine how frustrated it was on my end. Who's going to be in tomorrow live? Oric AF. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I will be on for Power Hour with David Green and I believe Lunchbox Trading. Tomorrow, Topstep sends out a schedule through email. So if you ever want to know, check your email. Check your email. You should be getting schedule of the Topstep TV schedule. And they talk about it on Topstep TV during the day as well. Me and Jerome for FM. Can you explain the new rules? What new rules? From my understanding, I didn't see any new rules. Unless I'm missing something. Long MNQ 824 and a quarter. Jay for slow markets. Coach Jay is going to be joining me tomorrow. Wednesday nights is one of my favorite, where Coach Jay joins me and we can have some good conversation and take some of that not email. I read the chat and spoke at the same time. Some of the talking off my shoulders. I love Coach Jay collab stream. Yeah, I need to get more traders. I need to get more team members on here for slow markets. Maybe, I was watching, is it Power Traders? Power. Oh, I can't remember. There's a guy on for Topstep TV. He has his YouTube channel, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. My memory is horrible. He's based out of China, Korea, Japan. I'm not sure. Kevin, I think his name was. He was absolutely amazing. I really enjoyed that one. Taiwan. Kevin. Yes, Kevin. I'm not sure exactly where he was out of, but man, great trader. Great trader. It's something I am going to be talking tomorrow with David Green. He displayed something that I think a lot of traders that are new do not understand, because there's a difference. There's a major difference between what traders see here in the prop firm industry and some real trading, right? Day trading, real trading, swing trading, holding positions, trading around positions. This is what I'm going to be talking with David Green tomorrow for a good portion of, and he was explaining how he was holding on to some micros in the Nasdaq, MNQ, for a longer period of time, not just day, but holding on from like 21,000 or something. So way down here, around 21, like way down to 21,000. And that's something I absolutely love. And it's something I want to talk more about, being able to trade smaller, right? Trade micros. It's one of the underrated tools that we have as traders, is trading micros and then trading around your position, because you can have like 2 or 3 micros on, and then I could day trade minis. Where, right now I could trade the Nasdaq mini right here, and then NQ where it's $20 per point. And I could also have a micro position going on in the background. And that's something I want to talk about. Not really the day trading, not really the prop firm day trading, but once you go live, you could have a conversation with our risk management team here at Topstep. And yeah, you could have that conversation to say, can I hold a position overnight? Can I trade micros? Can I hold this micro overnight? And you go through and talk and have those conversations. You're doing the same on my sim account to understand it. Yes, War, that's the right way to do it. If you don't understand something, and if you want to learn, if you want to practice it, that is what a sim account is used for. Practicing it. It's like, I don't understand it, but I would like to get to know how to hold micros. It's great. CC did it. You're so smart. Coach Dakota, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Sometimes I'm not that. It depends on my day. Some days I'm just like, buy the dip. Click buy. Close your eyes and buy. Other days, if you guys really want to talk real trading in depth, I love going in depth. But there's a fine balance between entertainment and then, it's like juggling like more like trying to keep plates spinning, right? As you can imagine, there's like multiple plates, and I have to try and keep all these plates spinning. You have one where it's, let's teach the basics of technical analysis, because we have a lot of new traders, and we have new traders every single day. And some of the traders are like, yeah, what's a 3-bar reversal? What's a wedge? What's a bull or bear flag? What's a double bottom, right? And then I also have to spin the plate of like, yeah, don't just sit here and let's not watch candlesticks. That's not entertaining. That's boring. And it's like a little bit of tradertainment and having good conversation. And then there's like the third plate where if you've been trading for many years, we could sit here and talk really, really in depth. We could talk, about options. We could talk about, Greeks and everything that evolves around the options. Or we could talk about scaling in and scaling out of a position and managing a position, that you're swing trading for the next 2-3 weeks, and then trading around it. What does it look like? How do you hedge before a news event? Hedging before a news event, and then taking the hedge off, putting it back on after the news event is done. And there's so much that you can do in these financial markets, and with what tools that we have available for us as traders, outside of just buy, sell, in and out day trading. So there's levels to this that a lot of traders don't get to see, and everyone's just kind of programmed to scalp, right? I'm going to scalp this. Here, I made 10 points and made 15 points, which is great, but there's a lot more to it. And knowledge seeker, I cannot even begin to talk about options on futures, right? Options on futures, that's another level too. And I could probably spend 40 hours a week just going in depth about so many different things. Joshua Lopez, what is hedging? It's a concept that is a little advanced for what I typically go over each night. That was the trade. Be real. Tell me you're not in a long position in the coming months. I'm always long. I'm always long the U.S. market. I'm always long equities. Always. I'm always in the market. I'm always long. In my personal accounts, and everything that I say and everything that I have been saying typically is a little bit different than what you're seeing here, day trading. We are day traders. We are day traders here at Topstep, but it doesn't mean we can't talk about other things. It's enjoyable, right? Stafford Dawson, what do these enforcement rules mean for us? I'm going to hit you with my famous answer. It depends. To be honest, it's people love to kind of blow out of proportion anything like that. So I don't know the details. Remember, I don't know the details, but from what my understanding is, remember, this is my understanding, I did that risk disclosure, is that it's not anything new, right? It's just simply saying okay, this is how it has been. This is what we're like going forward, and like elaborated it maybe more in depth. I don't know. I haven't went through and read through it in depth. It'd be unprofessional of me to make my own comments and make my opinions because without knowing. But I will know for a fact that probably doesn't affect maybe one or two traders in the chat right now. There's almost 1,300 traders here, and I would be surprised if it doesn't, like, maybe one or two, maybe, right? And that's, I understand it. If I don't think I'm going to talk too much more about it other than I understand it. I get it. I could see how easy it is to game systems. If there's money to be made in anywhere, people's going to game systems. I wouldn't blame anybody for trying to game a system for making money, myself included. I'm like, hey, if I could keep doing this thing over and over again and make money and do it for a low cost. And if it's, as long as it's legal and kosher and everything's like morally correct, I'm going to do it. And then guess what? If they change the game, guess what? The game's up. I have to find something else, right? It's just like at the casinos. You go to the casino, and if you find a way to count cards and you're gaming the system, they either just kick you out or change the game. And that's why you don't want to always depend on anyone else but yourself, right? It's the same with life. You just seen it happen in real life in the supply chain industry, correct? Where manufacturers, right? They just got hit with the rules change. They just got hit with tariffs. In my contacts, a lot of my closer, friends were talking about manufacturers in Mexico. It's like, wow, everything was going smooth, and now we just got, they just changed the rules on us. You're going to charge us an extra X% on everything we're manufacturing. What the heck? You just changed the rules. They're not going to be crying. There might be some crying to the regulators, but there's nothing you could really do, right? You adjust. You adjust. You come back. You keep doing, and you find the way to get better. Like, that's the reality. Coach Hoop at Paul, I smashed it. What are you smashed? Hit the like button. 1,281 viewers. Hit the like button. I know Topstep's trying to get to the 150,000 subscriber goal. Correct? 150,000 subscribers. And everyone, if you are not subscribed, subscribe during slow markets. I know that it probably looks better on my end if you subscribe if you're going to subscribe during slow markets. I know there's a period of time where it was, it's slow markets versus fast markets, right? Slow markets versus fast markets. And then I started to get on to TopstepTV fast markets. And then it's just like, well, it's me versus me. For a portion of it, right? It's not 100% me during fast markets, but I'm still there for fast markets. So that kind of, I didn't do the right thing. Just tell him Dakota sent you. If you subscribe, I'll send you a sticker. This market is dead. Nothing is moving. It feels like there's a big news event tomorrow, right? Markets are quiet. Definitely feels like there is data coming out tomorrow. That is what this market feels like. Let's see. What's gold doing? Is gold just flatlined? Whole lot of nothing. I think I'm going to keep this trade overnight. I'll close it before the CPI tomorrow. But I'm going to keep this gold trade overnight. By the way, should we trade during the news for the long or short like today when Powell spoke? You can trade however you would like when it comes to your process. I will strongly not recommend holding a position into the news. If you're asking me to buy or sell, that's really up to you and your own decisions and your own process. I will never recommend traders to buy a market or sell a market. You'd probably hear us joke, right? When the market just keeps going up, and it's like, with the power of hindsight, you just close your eyes and buy it. That's as easy as it gets if this market keeps going up and up and up. And you could hear us joke about that stuff. But never would I ever say we should buy this or we should sell this. And if you ever do hear me say that, catch me, right? Say something. I will never say advice, I guess. Trading advice, financial advice, it's not. This is for education. That's what that risk disclosure in the YouTube chat is for, right? Luis, I just stopped you. You've just stopped me on gold. Not sure what that means. Hey, Coach, is there any promo code for Topstep right now? No. If you guys tune in, I know I'm active on the Twitterverse. MP's active on the Twitterverse. I've enjoyed it. Have some fun conversations. Honestly, it's always interesting. But one thing that MP said that is really amazing and something that's always been true to the course. And there's a couple quotes. There's a couple quotes that I really see when you ever compare it. Comparison is the worst thing to do, right? But when you're gonna make a decision on what car should I buy, right? And we do this comparison to a car. Well, when people who buy a Ferrari, now this might be a very bad comparison, but when someone buys a Ferrari, they don't question their value, right? You don't go to a Ferrari dealership and be like, yeah, I don't know if it's worth this, right? You never see that happening. And you'll never see Ferrari, put on these big sales and discounts and advertising. And, you very rarely see Ferrari advertised on the TV. There's that quote, right? Where it's like, why don't I ever see Ferrari advertised on the TV? And then they said, well, people who are our customers don't watch TV. And so I truly believe that, where if you focus on the value is the most important thing. Focusing on the value. Armando, you got it. It's probably a bad analogy, but it's a great mindset to have. Ferrari is Ferrari for a reason, and that mindset should be instilled for any company who wants to improve and provide value. Crypto student, are you talking about the Nasdaq? Mork AF, what is my favorite car and why? Probably, it's probably going to be a 1970 or 71 Dodge Challenger, maybe a 1969 Dodge Charger. Maybe even a Plymouth Cuda. I almost purchased a Plymouth Cuda. Beautiful, beautiful cars. You can work on the car yourself, change your own oil, change your own tire, fix your own car. You don't have to pay someone thousands of dollars to change your oil, and you don't have to depend on it. And I said this before. I jokingly said this is most of the people that you see taking pictures of their cars and them with their cars and their fancy cars probably don't know how to change an oil. Probably won't be the one working on their car. Old muscle cars. There's something about the old 60s, 70s, maybe even some 80s muscle cars is what I would purchase. That's what I like. If I'm going to buy a car for that amount of money, it's probably going to be one of those. Yeah, 1970s, old muscle. What is Nikkei symbol on NinjaTrader? I don't know, Travis. I know it's NKD here at Topstep X. It's been a while since I've been on NinjaTrader. Mustang, so easy to work on. Yeah, because I'm invited to the cookout. Yeah, Nikkei, NKD here on, and we're selling off a little bit on the NKD. Gold's pumping. P&L's going up. Oh, I triggered into my second long. So I triggered into that second long. Let's pull up the double screen. Let's pull up the multi charts here. We'll have gold on the right, and then we could pull up the nice Nasdaq over here on the left. And let's see how these are panning out. I want to watch the Nasdaq. We could watch both of these. We could talk about them. I'm probably gonna just move this one right on up. We'll tighten this up a little bit. Let's see if we could catch have a nice catch on that. I'm going to switch this back to dollars because points don't make sense for me anyway. No, that's not it. Let's go to dollars. Just when I'm watching gold anyway. We'll see if we can make this break. See if we could have a continuation, maybe a rally. I'd love to see these 30s. I don't know if we'll get it tonight. Like I said, CPI tomorrow. Not expecting anything too crazy. Not expecting anything too crazy. Did we just get a fake out here? Fake out here on gold? Maybe? Or this is on such a small time frame. Such a small time frame. I don't want to overanalysis on smaller time frames. Honestly, that's a 1 minute chart. Let's jump out to the 5 minutes. 5 minute chart is where I like to be. Don't want to do any overanalysis. Sorry if my charts are moving too fast. I'm trying to adjust them. All right. It tapped the 200 moving MA. I'm not sure. What market? Let me know what market on there. In XFA, hold, lady. Not sure what you mean. This is a demo account. Like I said, when I'm teaching, when I'm coaching, I want to focus on a demo account most of the time. I can't, like I said, this is just a combine. Can't get funded on this one. Don't you trade based on liquidity, Emil? I trade on price action. Technical analysis. Technical analysis. Here's still the volume is more. Well, I'm concerned about call Ferrari. Maybe they can save Tesla in this market. I don't know if this market needs to be saved, to be honest. I got smacked around by the Nasdaq this week because I was being stupid. And I say that is because I am just so impressed on how resilient this Nasdaq has been. Like, honestly, if you tell me everything that's happened over the past 3 weeks, I would be like, yeah, the market might be down 10%. Nope. Market's not down 10%. Actually, the market's like 2 or 3% from all-time highs. So if you would have told me at the beginning of the year that we would be getting this issue with tariffs and we're going to be seeing everything that's happened the past 3 weeks, and interest rates are not going to be cut higher for longer, all this turmoil and all this uncertainty, maybe we're going to be down closer to 8, maybe 10%. And yeah, we're 1 day away from all-time highs. We're one decent day. We've seen 3% days to the long side. Tomorrow we have CPI. You never know what can happen. So I've just been very impressed at how well this Nasdaq has held up, right? Sunday gap down, major sell-off. Completely recovered, right? Following Sunday, gap down, sell-off, completely recovered. Here again, Friday into Sunday, and we've recovered and plus some. So this is a very, very resilient market. I don't think there's another word other than resilient that I could think of when it comes to this Nasdaq. And then Tesla had a very ugly day. Tesla had a not too good day. Tesla is part of the Nasdaq, right? We're talking about tech. And so if we want to talk about Tesla did not have a good day today. And let's take a look. What was it? I know chat is probably quicker at getting the details. Yeah, 6%, down 6%. It's also down 0.5% after hours. And there was a point in time where if Tesla was down 1%, the Nasdaq would be down, right? I mean, sometimes the markets are like that. It gets fixated on one stock, like Nvidia more recently. And if Nvidia goes up, market goes up. If Nvidia goes down, market goes down. So Tesla is down 15% in the past 5 days, right? 15% in the past 5 days. 6% in the past day. And then we take a look at the Nasdaq. Yeah, you could not tell me that. If you told me that, I'd be like, nah, look at this. The past few days, maybe break even. I mean, I would assume that the tech sector's positive, right? We're up. We're up how much for the week? We're in for the week we're up about 1%, give or take. We're up 1%. And the reason for that is you got to understand, like I've been saying, is I've been trying to say this for myself too, to be honest, everybody, is like you got to realize this is not just Tesla. This is not just Nvidia. This is not just like Apple. Like this is a big basket full of stocks and big stocks. So it makes sense. It's weird. It's always weird to see that when you see Tesla down 6% and the Nasdaq doing pretty well. Apple had a crazy move today. What did I miss on Apple? I mean, it's not too crazy. Up 2%. That's good, right? But Apple's only up 1.8% this week. Tesla's down 6. Apple's up 1.8. That's why I have a hard time looking at individual stocks and trying to make a determination on the Nasdaq. That's why it's my own way of trading. If I trade the Nasdaq, I focus on the Nasdaq. I tend to not pay attention to what every individual stock is doing because I'm not that great when it comes to splitting my attention span, right? If I have so many things moving and going on, then it's doing the opposite of what I like to do, and that's simplify my trading. And the more I could simplify it, typically the better off I am. So if I'm watching so many different stocks and everything that's going on, I have a harder time of just working on basic price action. Richard, do I ever trade Tesla? Yeah. I don't know if trade is the word. I would say I own some Tesla shares. Does that make sense? So yeah, when I hear people say, "Do I trade this?" I typically revert to day trading. I don't day trade stocks. And I don't day trade options. Own Tesla. I own some Tesla stock. There you go. Tesla to drop. Well, we're getting a nice quiet market. 20 minutes left. Let's get to a few more questions. And there's not really much to talk about. It's just been, we got that move in gold to start slow markets. It's what? Buy the slow market open. Slow markets open. As soon as class starts, gold's been going up. And then it's just kind of a whole lot of nothing. Same with the Nasdaq. Nasdaq, we did close. Where do we open? This is there we go. This line, 794. And yeah, it looks like this is interesting, right? This just kind of show you these dips have been continuing to be bought. Buy the dip. So take a look at this. Where we got here, we rallied up, sold off down to these 80s, immediately got bought up, and seems like any little sell-off has been just great buying opportunities. And it's been kind of the story of the Nasdaq, right? Any sell-off opportunities have been great buying opportunities. Any sell-offs have been great buying opportunities. Will that end? You just never know, right? How much of the dip do we buy? Do we just keep buying the dip? What if the dip keeps on dipping? All that fun stuff. It's always easy to look back at hindsight and say that was a better buying opportunity. We need a juicy tweet from Trump. No. As much as I love volatility, I do not want that type of volatility. Well, tonight it doesn't matter. Tonight, if we get a tweet, that's fine. It's CPI tomorrow, so we'll see. We'll see what happens in the morning. AB, you've been managing along this entire time. We've stayed in this is normal slow markets, everybody. This is normal slow markets. Like, this is normal. This is how slow markets usually is. Typically, outside of the crazy, political volatility, this is how slow markets is, where I could focus more on, answering questions, having good in-depth technical analysis, and going through. I'm skipping. Try and refresh YouTube. Refresh your YouTube. I think we should be good. I think we're good. Let me see. Yeah, no issues on my end. Probably a big up candle and exhausting trading a tight range. There's a good buy on copper right now. I haven't looked at copper for a while. I don't think I've ever traded copper in futures. How do you get into the group? What group, Alicia? Can you go over how you use 5-minute Fibonacci? I mean, I don't use Fibonacci lately. It's been a very long time since I used Fibonacci. I mean, this is a 5-minute chart, and you could probably Google any Fibonacci retracements, right? You draw from the bottom to the top of the move, and when we get a pullback, you'd look for maybe key levels. I don't trade Fibonacci. It's been a while, and I would recommend there's probably plenty of resources online, probably too many resources online that could help traders understand Fibonacci's. Do you trade a 500 tick? Nope. Smallest I trade is 100 tick. 100 tick, 5-minute, and then an hourly chart. Can you cover your 3-bar? Can you cover your strategy or 3-bar reversal? Nunez, I talk about it most of the nights. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the New York session. I'm going to get rid of that one. Let's talk about the New York session. I don't mind. People, you always tend to learn more from your losses sometimes. I had a loss today. That's not hidden. I never hide my losses. It's the reality. It's the reality of trading. It's not a false reality that you tend to see on social media. Losses are part of the game. I tend to lose more than others because I have a low risk. I have a low win trade percentage. Winning trade percentage is not dependent on whether you're successful or not. You can have a low win percentage and a high risk reward and still have a positive expectancy being profitable, or you could have a high win percentage and a low risk reward and still be profitable. It's balance, right? You can't have one without the other. People glorify win percentage because it's like that immediate glorification of like, oh my gosh, I was correct, right? I was right. I entered a trade and the market told me I was right, and I'm right all the time because of a high win percentage. That is not the right way to look at it. It doesn't really matter how often you're right or how often you're wrong if you do not take into consideration your risk reward. I know traders who are right 90% of the time. That 10% of the time will blow the account. It will. I see it happen over and over and over again. Traders love to have a high win percentage, but then that small percentage that they're wrong, it blows the account, or they hit their daily loss limit, max loss limit, whatever. And then that takes them like 100 more trades for them just to get back to break even. And then if they have 2 bad trades in a row, it just wipes out an entire month worth of their trading. And so it's not saying you could still find profitability. You could find profitability in any level of win trade percentage. You just have to make sure that it goes hand in hand with your risk reward. So now today during the New York session, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna get out of I'm not gonna get out of this one, but I want to go back down to one chart because I want to focus on the Nasdaq. So here is the way I was looking at the Nasdaq today, and the reason why I took a loss, right? There's a few things at play. One of them was probably just me being bad decision, right? Bad decision. You could always boil it down to you. No one else, you cannot blame anybody else for your loss, right? So the loss was 100% me. what I am looking at, there's a few things. There's no such thing as justifying a trade, right? It's a simple process. So going into today, this is a 1 hour chart. Going into today, this is what I was seeing, right? We had let me go through everything that's going through. I'm going to go through everything that was going in my head. So we had the gap down from Sunday. We completely rallied it, and now we got a pullback. Okay, so that is part of what was going through my head. And then when I zoom out and I see that this is like a major level of resistance, right? We don't know when the market is like, is this going to be the resistance? Or are we going to continue back down? You don't know. And sometimes it's easier said than done. It's always easier to go back and review with hindsight and justify your trade. But here's what I'm looking at the daily chart or the hourly chart. So we had this sell-off, major sell-off. Right? We sold all the way off down. This is basically overnight. And we sold off down to these 670s. And then we bounced. We got a nice rally. And so this is what I was looking at. So the way I trade during the New York session is I like a 5-minute chart. I love a 5-minute chart during the New York session. And the way I'm seeing this, remember, this is what I'm looking at. This is what I'm looking at going into the New York session, okay? Here's what I'm thinking. Double top, okay? Ooh, double top, confirmed. We broke through that. We had a hard time holding. This was support. I talked about this last night. We sold off. We broke through. Support became resistance, and we were selling off throughout the entire Asian session, throughout the London session, and we kept selling off. And so what I'm thinking is, all right, well, let's see if we get a decent rally, and if I get a good risk reward, like, a decent stop, maybe a 3-bar reversal, I want to get in. I don't want to just be selling on a rally just to sell. I was kind of like, maybe I should show some patience and wait for a 3-bar reversal. And so sure enough, we got a big, very big candlestick up to these 774s. The very next candle, we started to show some resistance. And the way that I was viewing it was like, okay, well, look, there's some resistance here. There's, this is during the Asian session. Like, this is a decent area. This makes sense to the fact that during the London session, which is more important to me than the Asian session because there's more volume and volatility during the London session. This was the high of the London session, not the entire overnight session. This was the high of the London session. So I was like, all right, well, we're starting to see a rejection before we even get to these 800s. And then sure enough, we came down, we pulled back. And if you were looking to long, now this is the easier trade. This is the better trade. I want to point this out on the 100 tick chart, actually. Let's see if I could point it out on a 100 tick chart too. So I want to make sure I have these charts aligned. There we go. So this is what I'm looking at on the 100 tick chart over here on the right, and this is a 5-minute chart. And so what I'm looking at is, you see how we had this breakout, we broke through that, rejected, and so I'm looking for technical patterns on the 100 tick chart that will help me correlate into a trade based off of a 5-minute chart. So I use a 5-minute chart and a 100 tick chart. I look at them hand to hand, and I look for, I've been calling them breadcrumbs. I've been looking for technicals over here on the 100 tick chart to help me confirm a trade setup on the 5-minute. So I seen that this very next 5-minute chart, you could see we started to, let's make sure I've got the right one. Okay, yeah, that was it. So what I'm looking for on this was a 3-bar reversal. I'm going to get out of this. And we did get it. So it happened during this very next candle. This is hard to see. So we had this one. And at the time, you could see where we broke through. We broke through that 3-bar reversal. And I ended up getting, I think it was short at 770 when we broke through that one. And I was looking for this market to get a little bit of a sell off down to these 740s. Like, that was what I was looking for. I was looking for maybe 750s. I was short 5 contracts. I don't mind scaling out. And of course, this 5-minute candle did not look like this. You can imagine this 5-minute candle actually was red, and it was breaking below this. So this candle looks very, very different from when it started and when I got in to where it closed. This is where I always tell traders, you can trade a 3-bar reversal in many different ways. You could wait for this candlestick to close, and if it closes below, that's obviously a lot better entry. I like to be preemptive. I like to get in early, and I'm fine with it. I don't mind. It's just you run into this situation that can be very frustrating where we fake out. You can see I got faked out, and liquidity ran, stops ran, or got in, and then we rallied up to this. And I'll show you where I made my mistake. I did make a mistake, and I'll show you where it was. We was rallying. I was in this trade, and we got, and obviously, you can see my stop loss was at 801. Stop loss, 801, I think. So we rallied up, stopped out, okay, stopped out, and then I got back in. I got back in. The beautiful thing, stop loss is a better entry. Stop loss is a better entry. There it is again. Stop loss, better entry, 801. Well, I got back in. And the reason why I got back in, we got that main rejection. I'm like, you know what? Stop loss is better entry. I need to practice what I say. I ended up getting in short at the break of this. So if I zoom in here on the 100 tick chart, so we came down, we tried to rally up, and then we rejected, and I got in on the break of this pivot right here. Okay, got in at the break of this pivot, and we did get a bit of a sell-off, right? We did get a bit of a sell-off, and that's where my mistake was. My mistake was not taking profit, see profit, take profit. We had the Powell speaking at 8, right? You can see where Powell, made that statement right here. This is the start right at it's 9 p.m. Central, and so my mistake was not just closing it out, taking profit, being happy with see profit, take profit. And I was in, 18 points. I could have got 29 points. And if anybody who's been following me for a little while, they'll know exactly what I'm going to say. If I had a 20-point take profit, man, things would have been so much different over the past 2 months because of a 20-point take profit versus not, right? So this is a good example. I like the entry. I like the setup. Stop loss is a better entry. I like that 3-bar reversal. Stop loss is a better entry, though, on this example. And all's fair. And then, we had the same setup again. Most likely, I would have been stopped out either here, right? This is a 3-bar reversal. However, this reversal bar, it did not close above it, right? Or it did not close below it. So once again, there's 2 scenarios. This candlestick, it crossed, it didn't close below, it finished above. Same thing. It crossed, it didn't close below, it finished above. And then finally, the first candlestick that it did close below was right here. This was the first candlestick the previous bar broke and crossed and finished below. And then look what happened, right? We just had that massive sell-off. And I don't want to be one that's like, you know what? It was the right idea, bad timing. No, this was wrong idea, wrong timing. Both. This was wrong idea, wrong timing. Right idea, right timing would be if I got in short somewhere up in this zone and then I get stopped out and then the market sells off. This was wrong idea, wrong timing. Wrong direction, wrong timing. This, if I was looking to short up here and for some reason I got out, that would be a lot better. That would be right idea, wrong timing. But if you ended up taking this 3-bar reversal, and I know the house account did, big shout out to the house account. The house account ended up taking a short and caught this move. The house account shorted this. If you guys finished on fast markets, the house account ended up green. The house account was short up in this area and took profit down here in the 790s, 780s. The house account nailed this one. The house account was green. Loved to see that one. So that was kind of my New York session. One basic setup, and I was done for the day. One setup, 2 different trades, right? One setup, I got in once, got stopped out, got in again, got stopped out on one setup, and I was done. One and done, basically. And then now here we are preparing for tomorrow. And that took up the rest of class. Thoughts on that review? Do you like that New York session review? I know it's not really talking about what's going on now, but I do learn a lot, regardless of losses and wins. If you try it, do it in a sim environment. Do not try anything new in a live account, please. Yes, that was helpful. That's kind of my thought process. So sometimes when I get traders in the YouTube chat saying, what's your process? And I'm like, it depends. It really depends on what market we're trading and what market condition is. It depends. Like, it's like you ask a quarterback. You ask a quarterback, like, are you going to pass or throw or run the ball? And then who are you going to pass to? Well, you have an idea of what you're going to do, and you have an idea of who you're going to pass to. But as soon as the play starts, as soon as you hike the ball, as soon as the New York session opens, things change. Like wow, we have, like, tonight. We're going into tonight. We have CPI tomorrow. We have a lot of Fed speakers. We have Powell still talking. It's Wednesday, and the conditions, the situations change so fast during any time throughout the New York session. You might have a game plan, but being able to call an audible is very important. And so when someone asks, what's my exact process? And if somebody wants an exact process that is easier to teach, I will point you in the direction of, say, Mo on Topstep TV, who joins me, I believe, Fridays. Beautiful rules-based process where I can't remember it off the top of my head. Take a look. Friday, take a look at Mohammed, his trading. Amazing. Something simple, straightforward. I will never recommend following someone exactly, because we all have to find our own process. We all have to follow our own, way of trading in order to, gain that confidence. Because I could tell somebody an exact strategy that I know somebody might find profitable, and everybody in the audience will trade it differently. And I just got did I just get triggered? Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. Thanks, everybody. I will see everybody not in the morning, but for Power Hour. So Power Hour on Topstep TV tomorrow. I will also be on with David Green. That's going to be a great one. If you're going to watch anything tomorrow with me, I will watch tomorrow when I'm on with David Green. It's going to be for lunchbox trading. I'm going to do a VIP update. I'm going to be talking with David Green. We're going to go in depth. Now, everything that I was talking about tonight, the more in-depth stuff, I'm going to have that conversation. I'm going to have some of this conversation with David Green tomorrow for Lunchbox Trading. And it's going to be in-depth. So if you're new, don't worry. Some of the stuff you might not understand. It's a different trading lingo, right? It's almost like a different language. And for the sake of it, everybody, since it is slow markets, and since slow markets is live, everybody knows I do not ask this. I almost never ask it, right? Please do me a favor. I want to help get Topstep over the 150,000 subscribers. If you haven't, please do it. And on top of that, we do need to, I do want to start seeing the likes get bumped up. So typically I don't ask for it. I am asking for it tonight. It's a rare occasion. I want to see it. Okay. I really want to see it. I'm kind of measuring, like, how is it when I don't ask for it versus how is it when I ask for it? So maybe I might ask for it more often. I don't know. It's give and take. I think that's what I might I might be doing a little bit more often. We will see. It's fun. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow.